So, welcome class to lesson 6-9. Today, strong mathematicians can practice operations with fractions and mixed numbers. So, as we continue through this voyage of fraction world, we're going to kind of just do some more practice of all the skills that we kind of learned throughout the course of this unit. So, let's dive right in. Your notebook, your name, your pencil, the lesson, the date, draw me a smiley face. Let's go for it. So box one notes, remember this is the huge things. As I said, this always seems to be the biggest struggle. Remember the difference between sum of unit fractions and the product of unit fractions. So keep that in mind, which one's sum, which one is unit fractions. So right now I want you to pause the video because you've done these a lot. It said write each fraction as a sum of fractions in two different ways. And I want you to add and subtract. So you might as well do all the problems on here right now. Pause it. See if you can beat me. See if you get the correct answer. That way we can sit and watch and be like, yeah, I could teach this class. All right, and here we go. So we got 4 ninths. Says write each fraction as the sum of a fraction in two different ways. So all we'll do is find two different ways to add it. So I have 4 ninths equals, let's see, we'll go 2 ninths plus 2 ninths. And which also equals 1 ninth plus 3 ninths. Look at that. Probably have the same answers as you because I think those are all the possibilities. We just might roll them differently. And the other one, 8a, so they gave me a whole number to work with, so I got lots of possibilities. I'm going to go with 7/8 plus 1/8, and I'm going to go, which also equals, we'll divide it in half. 4/8 plus 4/8. We'd like to share equally, that is. All right, so we have for those fractions in two different ways. The next one, add or subtract. We're going to add them. Like I said, can you add numbers this way? You can. Like I said, I kind of like to work top to down versus this way. But I just make sure my numbers are correct. They're my whole numbers. That would be 11. Here are my numerators. That would be 10 over 7. I can't leave it this way because it's a fraction greater than 1. Since I have 10 sevenths, I can take 7 away because 7 makes a whole, which means I would now have 12. So I'll put an equal sign there. 12, and I got to subtract 7 from that, so I took 7 away. Will give me 12 and 3 sevenths. And then you're like, Miss Kami, you threw me a subtraction problem where the numerator here is smaller than the numerator here, which means I have to ungroup, which is correct. That's why I gave you that problem. See, there's a method to my madness. So with that, we're going to ungroup these right now. So 8, I'm going to trade in 8 and make it 7. Now here's the big thing. How many pieces did you give yourself? You gave yourself as many pieces as the denominator is, which is 6. So 2 plus 6 gives me 7 and 8, 6. Now I can subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. 8 minus 5 is 3. And my denominator stays the same, which would be 6. So I would get 2 and 3, 6. You can pause the video right now. If you have any questions, you can jot those down or share those out to help you out with your problems. And here we go. Solve. Write your answer as a fraction and mixed number. Go for it. As always, pause the video. Solve them for me. Then you can sit back and watch me do the work that you did. So it's kind of like you're teaching me. So here we go with this one. Fractions. So we take the number of holes that I have times the number of pieces in each hole will be that one. So 16 times 4. 16 times 4. Let's see, that'd be a 4 there. Carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. So I would have 64 sevenths. That'd be my fraction greater than 1. Now I figure out how many pieces that is. So I go 7 divided by 64 would be a 9. 7 times 9 is 63. That would give me 1, so a remainder of 1. Now the big thing is making sure I put all these numbers in the correct place. So I've got 9 whole. I've got 1 piece left over, and they're cut in 7. So 9 and 1 seventh. Hopefully yours matches mine, or I match you, however you want to say it. And here we go. We got 45 holes, and there's 2 in each of them. So we're going to have 45 times 2, which gives me 0, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 90. So I have 90 over 6, because my denominator stays the same, because it's the size of my piece. 6 divided by 90. 6 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. 3, bring down the 0. 6 goes into 30 5 times, which is 30, which means there is no remainder, so it would just be a straight up whole number of 15. So hopefully my answers match. If not, you're going to pause it right now, fix what doesn't, and then you can use this to help guide you during your problems. And to the word problem. Dun, 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 dun. Write an equation, then solve. Sounds good. Dimitri rode his bike 32 miles yesterday. He rode 12 4/5 miles before lunch and the rest of the distance after lunch. How far did he ride after lunch? All right, so Dimitri rode his bike 32 miles yesterday, so that's the whole day. He rode, so that's the whole day, so 32. I can't go any more than that. And then he rode 12 4/5 miles, so minus 12 4/5 miles before lunch. So I don't know how many miles he did after lunch, so I'll put A for after. All right, so let's set this up so we can do some ungrouping and some good work there. So there's my equation. So I'm going to go with 32 minus 12 and 4/5. Hopefully you're like, wait a second, I don't have a numerator. I don't have any fraction in the first one. Well, what can I do? Well, 32 is the same as 0/5. Why do I choose fifths? Because that's my denominator. And we know denominators have to be the same size to help us subtract. So now with that, now I can do my ungrouping, since 0 is obviously less than 4. So 32 would turn into a 31. And this, I would just add 5 to it, so this would turn into 5/5. Now I can subtract. 5 minus 4 would be 1/5. And 31 minus 12, I have to ungroup this to a 2 and make this a 1. Why is it 10? Because now we're doing with whole numbers, which is in the base 10 system. 11 minus 2 is 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. If I was not sure, what I could do is add these two together and see if I can come up and get the answer of 32, because that would be our inverse operation, which if I do it in my head quickly, it looks good. So I would get 19 1/5. Let's see, how far do you ride? So 19 miles. So A equals, and then not miles, let's say after lunch, because otherwise he actually biked 32 miles in the day, as it says in the problem. So you can pause one right now, see how the work can help you solve your problem. And we got one more. A bread recipe calls for 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour, 1 2/4 cups of white flour, and 3/4 cups of rye flour. How much flour is this in all? Whew, looks like we're adding some fractions together. So a bread recipe calls for 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour. So that's my first number. So I have 3/4 plus 1 2/4 cups of white flour. So 1 2/4 cups of white flour. And 3/4 cups of rye flour. So plus 3/4 equals, we'll go with how much flour. So we'll go for an F for flour. So we can add these together. Well, is it any different than adding 2? No, if you add 2, you add 3. You could probably add 6 or 7 fractions if you want. 3 plus 2 plus 3 is 8. So I have my only whole number is 1, so I got 1. And then I got 3 plus 2 plus 3 is 8 again. My denominator is the same, which is 4. I can't say I have 1 8/4. I could reduce this into a other fraction, which means how many groups of 4 can I get from 8? Well, if I get 1, I'd be left with 4. So I get 2 groups. So 1 8/4 is the same as 3. So the answer would be F equals 3 cups of flour in all. So you can pause this one and solve this out to help you with yours. Now is the time for you. So draw a big line, right? Box 3, now your turn, and go for it right now. Make sure you write the sum, and then show me the sum of these ones, and then add and subtract, and show me the answer in your work that goes with that one. Good luck. And your next problem said you write the fraction as a fraction of mixed numbers, use some multiplication. You have 23 times 3/8 and 34 times 4/7. Go get it. And you have a word problem. Amy ran 26 miles on Tuesday, almost a marathon. She ran 11 3/7 before lunch. She ran the rest of the distance after lunch. How far did she run after lunch? She's still running after lunch. Good for her. I'm jealous. So you pause this one, write an equation, solve it. Do your best. Looking forward to seeing your answer. And one more problem said the track is 1/4 mile long. Kenny ran around the track 33 times. How far did Kenny run in all? Pause the video, write an equation, then solve it. Take your time, do your best. Looking forward to seeing your answers. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to write them down or share them out. If you have any strategies that you use to help you, make sure you include those as well. And as always, thank you for another great lesson.